Good day to you, Algebra 1. This is just going to be a quick video on the 4 different ways we solved quadratic equations. So if you have a pretty good grasp on what we've been doing so far, this is an optional video. Don't feel like you have to watch it. I'm just going to review our 4 different ways that we solved a quadratic equation because your assignment is just a review on those things, okay? So I think your assignment is 15 questions, and if I remember correctly, the first set are you're just going to be given a graph, and you have to decide what the solutions are to that graph. So I'm just going to draw, I don't know, a couple parabolas on here, and we're going to review a few things. So let's say, I don't know, I have this. Okay, so let's say this is our parabola, right? So remember, our solution to our quadratic equation is where it touches the x-axis. Remember, those are our x-intercepts, or we call them the solutions or the roots, right? So if you were given this graph, where does this parabola touch the x-axis? Well, it touches it right here at -3 and at 1. So the solutions to this parabola or quadratic equation would be -3, 1. Because remember, it's just where it touches the x-axis. So like I said, the first, I think, 2 or 3 problems is just like this on your homework. I'm going to do one more just because might as well, right? Let's put it, I don't know, here. Something like this. I don't know. They're kind of all the same. Once you see it once, it doesn't really get jazzed up more than that. Again, we have our parabola, and the solutions or the answer to this quadratic equation is where it touches this x-axis at. So again, that would be here and here. So what is this point on the x-axis? Well, that is a 2, and this one is -2. So those would be our 2 solutions. Okay, so just remember the answers to a quadratic equation is when it touches your x-axis. So I'm going to now switch to paper and pencil because I can write a little neater with a pen than I can these expo markers. So that is the first few examples on your homework. And then, all right, I'm just going to write the date down here. I think today, what is the date today? The 29th, 28th? What do we know, folks? What is the date? Wednesday, 29th. Okay, I'm just going to write that quick. Wednesday, April 29th. Review of solving quadratics. And then abbreviate there. Oh, you can't even read that. Let's see here. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So after you do the graphing ones, you are going to be given the square root problems, okay? So let's think here. Let me think. I think the first few ones start up pretty basic. It's something along the lines of like x squared equals 100. So I want to solve this using the square root method. And since I don't have that C term or that B term, we can just simply take the square root. Remember, you guys, I'm pretty sure like these because they're quick. So I can go like this. And now remember to take the square root of something. You just type in our calculator and I get 10. But just remember though, 10 times 10 gives me 100, and so does 10 and -10. So -10 and 10 are our 2 answers. Okay, what if we had, let's do x squared equals -81. Okay, so again, take the square root. Now in my little calculator here, I'm going to take the square root of -81. Oh, do you guys see that? It says domain error. So remember, you can't take the square root of a negative number, so this would be no solution. Okay, let's do one more just for good luck here. Let's say we have something like dun 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 4n squared equals 64. So again, we always want to get that variable by itself. So how do I get n by itself here? Well, we divide both sides by 4. So if I take 64 divided by 4, oops, we're going to get 16. So I have n squared equals 16. And now that I have my n squared by itself, we can take the square root. So now n equals 4 or negative 4. So those ones will be quick for you guys. This is solving by square root. Solving by square root. Okay. So like I said, I can't talk right now. The first ones will be graphing. The second set of problems will be like this. The third set of problems will be using the quadratic formula. So that's what we just worked on the last 2 class periods. So I'm going to write solve by quadratic formula. So I'm going to write our big formula out here, negative b plus or minus big square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. Shimmy my paper down a bit here. Okay, so let's say we have this problem here. 2x squared minus 3x equals 20. So remember, we have to get our equation here in standard form. So that's when it equals 0. So I have to subtract that 20 over. So then we have 2x squared minus 3x minus 20 is equal to 0. Now from here, let me give myself enough space. There we go. From here, let's list out our a, b, and c. Our a is in front of the x squared, so it's 2. Our b value is in front of the x, so just negative 3. And our c value is the one that number all by itself, so it's negative 20. So now from here, let's plug into our formula. So now remember, folks, I want the opposite of my b value. So what's opposite of negative 3? A positive 3. So we're going to have 3 plus or minus the big square root of negative 3 squared minus 4 times our a value of 2, our c value of negative 20, all over 2 times our a value of 2. Now from here, remember, we just simplify, and we simplify a lot. So we're going to have 3 plus or minus, remember now, negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. Now we're going to take all of this in our calculator. So I'm going to have negative 4 times 2 times negative 20. And we get 160. So plus 160 all over 2 times 2 is 4. Now from here again, we're still just simplifying, so we're going to have 3 plus or minus 9 plus 160 is 169 all over 4. Almost done here. Take the square root of 169 plus or minus. So in our calculator, the square root of 169 is 13 all over 4. And now we have our 2 cases. So if we do the addition version, 3 plus 13 is 16 over 4 gives me 4. That's 1. Now if we subtract, 3 minus 13 is negative 10 divided by 4. Negative 10 divided by 4 is negative 2.5. So our two answers here would be 4 and negative 2.5. Okay? And then after the 1 or 2 questions you have on the quadratic formula, there's just a few factoring problems. It's not exactly the same. I couldn't find anything on the Big Ideas website that was exactly perfect that what we did. So solve by factoring. But they're just going to have you factor. They're not going to have you set it equal to 0, but let's just review what that would look like. So let's say we have x squared plus 7x plus 12. And I want to factor that. So remember, we're going to use our two sets of parentheses. And I'm thinking, what times what's going to give me an x squared? Well, that's an x and an x. And now if I look at my signs, they're both positive, so I know I'm going to have a plus and a plus. And now we're thinking, what are some ways to get to 12? Well, we have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. Now out of our 3 options, which ones add to 7? Well, that would be 3 and 4. So in this chapter, we would set those equal to 0 and then solve, but that's not what it is in your homework because I couldn't find problems like that on the website. So you'd be done here on your homework for tonight or for today. Let's do just another factoring problem because like I said, it's been a little while since we've done factoring. Let's do one like this. What if we had x squared minus 5x plus 4? So again, use your two sets of parentheses. In the first spot, we're thinking what times what is going to get me an x squared? Well, that would be an x and an x. Now we're looking at our signs. I have a minus and an addition sign. So I know I'm going to have a minus minus, right? Because that's the only way I'm going to multiply to a positive number but add to a negative. And the nice thing about this problem is there's only one way to multiply to a 4. It's 1 and 4. So there we go. And that is that. If you have any issues with the review, please, please, please let me know. And I know some of you are having troubles logging into Big Ideas. I sent them an email asking what the issue was. I haven't heard. So on I'll show you if you're still with me. On our calendar, you can either click here and go to the Big Ideas website, or if you click this assignment right here, I shared the PDF version of the assignment with you. If you're having issues, just because I don't want anyone to feel like they don't have access to it. So again, we did these problems together to start with. You're just finding what the zeros are. Solving by square root, more square roots. We love square roots. And then, oh, still some more square roots. We like those. Write the equation in standard form, then identify A, B, and C. You guys are rock stars at that. Quadratic formula, and then 3 factoring. So nothing you guys can handle. We reviewed one of each type on this video. And again, if you can't log into the website, just on a sheet of notebook paper, you don't even need to print this out. Just write down your answers and then submit it in Classroom on this assignment here, or shoot me an email. It doesn't matter. Whatever works for you works for me. And if you have made it this far in the video and you're still listening, it is Winnie's birthday coming up soon. I will tell you, it is before school is out, and it hasn't happened yet. And if you want to try guess her birthday and you get it correct, I will give you a bonus point or two just for funsies for listening to me talk for 15 minutes. It is a fun math birthday, and I will explain that once it happens. But if you send me an email with your guess of her birthday, I will, and you get it correct, you will get a bonus point. As always, I miss you guys so much. I hope you're doing well and staying healthy. And take care. We'll talk to you soon.